Hi, welcome to MBOSE High School Science classes. This is Freeman. Today I will be talking on the topic transportation, which is part of the chapter life processes of biology class 10 textbook. Now some of you might wonder, what is the transportation? Does transportation do take place inside the living body, inside the living organism? Yes, it does. You remember in nutrition, you take the food, digest the food, and that food reached into the small intestine, and from the small intestine, you came to know that the food will be absorbed. Then what happened to the food which was absorbed? That food which was absorbed has to be transported or has to be moved to the different organs in the body so that they can be used. So today I will be talking on this topic, transportation in human beings. So in this topic, transportation in human beings, we will study more in details on these topics. We'll study more in details on heart, blood, and limbs. And to help you to flow with the lessons and understand the lesson properly, I will flow exactly according to these flowcharts. So point by point, we will study and explain on the basis of this flowchart, so that you also will go along with my explanation and you can understand deeper. So first of all, let's point out, where is the heart located inside our body? Look at this diagram. This is a heart. The heart is present inside our body, in between the lungs, in the chest area, just above these muscles or just above the diaphragm. And in the point number 2, general intro of the heart position, color of the blood vessels, blue and red. Now you see, in the heart, this is heart, so you see that these pipes, they are the blood vessels, and in the heart they are so big, and outside the heart they are quite smaller, and I color them into blue and red. Blue means that they contain more carbon dioxide and less oxygen, whereas the red one, the one which is red in color, means that these vessels or this pipe contain the blood which is rich in oxygen, less in carbon dioxide. So now let's come to the point number 3, the structure of heart. Look at this diagram. Look closely at this diagram. You will find that the heart has 1, 2, 3, 4 chambers. This is the right part. Let's say this is the right part of the heart. This is the left part of the heart. So 2 in the right side and 2 chambers in the left side. 2 in the top, 2 at the bottom. These 2 at the top, they are called atrium. This is the left atrium, this one right atrium. These 2 at the bottom, they are called ventricle. This is the right ventricle and this is the left ventricle. You see, these are nothing but the muscles, thick muscles, and these muscles, they are very specialized in pumping. They are very specialized in pumping. Now you looked at this pipe. There are 4 great pipes, 1, 2, 3 and 4. These are 4 great pipes. We will study them in detail. And these 4 great pipes, they are the 4 great blood vessels. 4 great blood vessels. Now you look here. these two chambers at the top, their job is just to receive the blood. Now you look here, this vessel or this pipe, it carries the deoxygenated blood or the blue blood from the upper side, let's say from the head, from the shoulder, from the face, bring it to the right atrium, and this one, it's here, it carries the blood, the deoxygenated blood or the blood which is rich in carbon dioxide from the lower portion of the body, it carries there into the right atrium. And once the blood reached here in the right atrium, that blood will flows into this chamber, which is right ventricle. Once the blood reach into this ventricle, it will then be pumped, so that it will enter to this pipe or these blood vessels, and that will go one to the left lungs, another one to the right lungs, like here. Pumped from here, it reached into the left lung, and the other one reached into the right lungs. And in the lungs here, all the carbon dioxide will be moved out from these blood vessels, and the blood will take on the oxygen, so the blood will become red, and that red blood will then come back through these vessels, and then it will reach here, same thing from that side. So this area, this left atrium, it received the blood from the lungs. That blood is clean blood or oxygenated blood, and the blood that reached here will be descend or flow down to the left ventricle, and from the left ventricle the blood is then pumped to this big artery which is called aorta, to different part of the body. This one will go to the head region, and this one will go down to the lower region of the heart. So the pumping chambers are these lower part, we call the ventricles. The receiving chambers are these, the upper chambers, we call the auricles or the atrium. As you see in this diagram, there is this kind of muscles which is like a canal, and when the blood flow from here, this canal, when the blood flows from here after finishing, and when this blood here become filled, this canal will close, and this kind of canal which can self-determine to close or to open, it is called a bulb. So we have bulbs, here also bulbs, and in these muscles and in this blood vessel also there is a bulb, here also there is a bulb. So these bulbs, they prevent the backflow of the blood. When it reached here, the blood cannot come back to this area here, to this chamber here, because these bulbs will stop that. So the presence of bulbs prevent the backflow of the blood, Sometime you may be asked, like, what are the 4 great blood vessels in the heart, or the 4 great blood vessels in the heart? In the heart, there are 4 big vessels or big great vessels, big pipes in the blood, and these are one. This one is vena cava. These are 2 types, superior vena cava, and this one is inferior vena cava. And number 2, pulmonary artery. This one is pulmonary artery, which take the blood from the heart to the lungs. And this one, pulmonary vein, is third one, pulmonary veins, which take the blood from the lungs into the heart, to the left atrium of the heart. And the fourth one is the systemic aorta, or just simply aorta, which pumped the blood, which carry the pumped blood from the left ventricle to different parts of the body. So those are the 4 great blood vessels present in the heart. So the 2 terms, oxygenated blood mean the blood which is rich in oxygen, deoxygenated blood means the blood which is lacking oxygen. So point 5, functions of the heart. As you can see from the diagram, the main functions of the heart is just to receive the blood in these chambers and pump the blood from these chambers. Another term which is very important and frequently asked in the exams is this one, double circulation. What is that double circulation? I mean twice circulation, 2 times circulation. Suppose the blood which is present here, it is dirty. The blood which is present here is dirty. Let's say name that blood as blood dirty, blood A. And that blood A reach into this chamber, this right atrium. From the right atrium it will go into the right ventricle. From the right ventricle it will be pumped out into the lungs. That A which carry carbon dioxide, it reach now in the lungs, and after it receive oxygen in the lungs, it will come back from the lungs into the heart. So in the beginning it flows into the right chamber, and second time it will flows into the left chamber, and from the left chamber it will be pumped into different parts of the body. So you see that in just one go it will have to pass the all the 4 chambers, left and right, 2 times. Once while coming in the right, and second one while coming, first time while coming from the different part of the body to the heart, and second time while coming from the lungs to the heart, and again to different part of the body. So in just one go it passed the heart 2 times. So that process of passing 2 times in the heart by the blood is called double circulation. Now let's see point number 6, the compositions of the blood. What makes up the blood? Okay, to do that, let's see this figure. In this diagram you see that the blade was cut in the finger of a person, and the blood comes out from that finger, and that blood is collected into a container. And then after some time you leave the blood to be as it be here only. Then you come back after some time, you'll see that some part of the blood becomes solid, some part of the blood become solidified. After some time you find that some part of the blood, let's say this area which is red in color, becomes solid, whereas the other part they are still liquid, and this liquid part is called the blood plasma, and this solid part is called the blood cells. So the blood, it consists of 2 main components, the blood cells and the blood plasma. Checked here. So the blood composition, the blood consists of 2 parts, the blood cells and the blood cells. There are 3 types of blood cells, the WBC or the white blood cells, the red blood cells, and the platelets. And the plasma, that one which is liquid, this one, which is the color of it, this pale color liquid, this pale, this let's say not yellow and not brown, but pale. And this liquid or plasma, because it is liquid, it allows the blood cells to flow in it. So plasma, it helps the blood to flow in it and carry the blood from one region to another region in the body. Besides that, all the food particles, the nutrients, the vitamin, the minerals, etc., they are floating in the plasma. So the plasma carry all of them. It carries the blood vessels, it carries the blood corpuscles, the blood cells, and then other nutrients from one part of the body to the other part of the body through the blood vessels. And another point is blood vessels. In the body there are 3 main blood vessels other than the heart. In the heart they are named in different names, but in the other parts of the body the blood vessels are of 3 types: the veins, the arteries, and the capillaries. This yellow blue one are called the vein. I told you why they are blue. And this artery is red one, and the capillaries. Now you look at this diagram closely, you see these tiny ones which do not attach with the vein or artery. These are the capillary. These capillaries, they are the tiny blood vessels which helps to connect the veins and the artery, so that to allow the continued flowing of the blood from the artery to the veins through the capillaries. Now let's compare the blood vessels in the body and in the heart. In the heart, the blood vessels are given with fancy names like the pulmonary veins, pulmonary artery, vena cava, aorta. But in the body, in the other parts of the body, they are given only with three names: veins, artery, and capillary. And in the next point is how the blood flow in the body, or how the blood circulates in our body. Now checked here, let's say from the cells is is the place that we can start. Let's say in the cells they produce carbon dioxide. That carbon dioxide reach into the capillaries and into the blood in the capillaries. This blood present in the capillaries, which contain lots of carbon dioxide, is called deoxygenated blood, and that deoxygenated blood will pass into the veins, go to the vena cava. You remember, superior and inferior vena cava, and from the vena cava it goes in the right chamber of the heart, which is called the right atrium, and from the right atrium it goes to the left atrium. From the left atrium it will pass to this pulmonary artery. You remember in that diagram, pass into pulmonary artery, goes to the lungs, and in the lungs that carbon dioxide will be removed, and instead of carbon dioxide, oxygen will be carried into that blood, and that time it is called oxygenated blood. That oxygenated blood in the lungs will then be passed into the pulmonary veins. Pulmonary veins, you remember pulmonary veins here, pulmonary veins. From the pulmonary veins from the pulmonary vein it goes into the left atrium, right? In the left atrium it will pass into the left ventricle. From the left ventricle it will go into the, you see, from the left chamber of the heart it will go into the aorta, from the aorta to arteries, to capillaries, and again to the cells. So this is how the blood flows in our body. Next point here is clotting of the blood. You remember again this diagram, like after some time, the blood stopped flowing from the finger, from the cut finger of that person. You know why? This is called clotting of the blood. So what is blood clotting? Blood clotting is the stoppage of the flow of the blood from the cut area due to the formation of blood clots by the platelets. What cells perform this clotting of the blood or stoppage of the blood flow? It is done by the cells of the blood, which we call platelets. So sometimes some people their body do not stop the flow of blood. When it's flow, it will continue flowing. It requires emergency activity or emergency action by the doctors, and those people are said to have hemophilia. This is a disease. Those persons, they are said to be hemophilic, or they suffer from this hemophilia. So hemophilia is a disease which causes the filling of the blood to clots from the cut in the body, and that hemophilia, it can be caused by one of the two causes. One, it can be that in the body of that person there are only few platelets in the blood, or it can be that if there are many platelets in the blood but still those platelets cannot make this fibrin. The fibrin is a chemical which cover that cut area to stop the flow of the blood. So for this I will make another video to explain the details of how the blood clotting is done by the blood. Now we'll see the functions of the blood. You now realize that the blood performs so many functions. Let's just point out some of the functions of the blood. Like point number 1, the blood help to transport nutrients. As you saw, the nutrients, they are floating in the plasma, and the plasma carry those nutrients to different parts of the body. Nutrient, it can be carbohydrate, protein, vitamins, minerals, whatever. And point number 2, the blood help in the transport of oxygen and carbon dioxide gases. And number 3, help in the transport of hormones. And number 4, it helps to remove the waste. And number 5, it helps in the clotting process, I explained you just now. And number 6, it helps to maintain the body temperature while we are warmed, even if it is very cold, but our temperature is still same. It is because of the blood, because it helps us to maintain the same body temperature. And number 7, the presence of WBC help us to defend the attack of the foreign particles like the virus or bacteria. And number 8, the blood helps to regulate the blood pressure. We will see that just shortly. Now we'll see blood pressure. Now, to understand blood pressure, we have to look at this diagram. I will show this diagram here. Let's say this is the left ventricle, and the blood will be pumped from here to different parts of the body. So suppose the blood has filled this chamber here. When the chamber is become filled, it will contract. It will contract like this. It will press itself, and while it presses, the blood flows from here to the different parts of the body, and as a result, it will reach here also in this hand of the person. And the artery here, the wall here, the black line here, they will experience big force, and that is called pressure. They'll experience pressure, and that pressure, it is measured in this machine. Then again here, look at here, after some time, when there is no more blood in that chamber, the chamber will relax. And this relaxation is called ventricular relaxation. When it contracts, it is called ventricular contraction. When it is relaxed, during ventricular relaxation, you know what happened? This black one here, which present here, it will close. It will close so that do not allow the backflow of the blood into the heart. So the blood will continue to flow even after it relaxes. So here also it will flow even though it is relaxed, and at that time the wall experience a lesser pressure or a lesser force. So that is also measured here. So during contraction, great force will be experienced here or great pressure. During relaxation, you will experience lesser pressure here. So we have two types of pressure, two types of blood pressure. So there are two types of blood pressure. Systolic pressure, it is a pressure experienced by the wall of the artery, as you saw in the hands of that person, during the blood pumping in the ventricle or during ventricular contraction, and it is measured as 120 mmHg. And diastolic pressure, when the pressure experienced by artery at the time when there is no pump in the heart, or say during ventricular relaxation, and in normal human being, that pressure is measured as 80 mmHg. The machine which measures the blood pressure is called sphygmomanometer. So how you define blood pressure? Blood pressure is the force produced by the blood on the wall of the blood vessels of the artery. So I think you understood till now. So the next topic, the next point here is the last point here is the limb. Limb is quite another complicated topic, so I will explain it in another video, a separate video. So I hope the video is helpful to all of you. So please make sure that you study properly, you pause the video whenever you feel that it is too fast, and then make sure that you subscribe and like and share the video so that you will get the notification whenever I upload another video, and so that you other people or your friends will also get some benefits by your kindness of sharing this video. So stay safe, stay tuned.